What if a civilization could collapse again and again, and still rise stronger every time? China is one of the oldest continuous civilizations on Earth. For over 5,000 years, dynasties have risen, fallen, shattered, and somehow rebuilt. Empires collapsed under invasions. Civil wars destroyed entire populations. Foreign powers dismantled its sovereignty. Yet China repeatedly returned, unified, restructured, and transformed. Historians often describe Chinese history as a cycle of collapse, chaos, and rebirth. Studies show that unified dynasties repeatedly ruled China for centuries before collapsing and being replaced through social revolutions or uprisings. But why does China keep returning when other great empires, like Rome, disappear forever? Is China simply lucky? Or does it possess a hidden survival formula built into its civilization? Chinese history follows a powerful repeating pattern. When strong dynasties ruled, China flourished culturally, economically, and technologically. But over time, internal corruption, economic crisis, natural disasters, or invasions weakened them. Eventually, collapse arrived. And yet, something remarkable happened after every collapse. China rebuilt itself through reunification. When the Han Dynasty fell in 220 AD, China entered nearly 400 years of warfare and fragmentation. Yet the Sui dynasty eventually reunited the country and laid foundations for the Tang Golden Age. The Tang period later became one of the most advanced civilizations in the world, dominating trade, science, and culture across Asia. China didn't just recover from chaos, it often emerged stronger than before. So, what gives China this extraordinary ability to reunify when fragmentation destroys most civilizations permanently? One of China's greatest survival tools has been centralized governance. From the Qing Dynasty onward, China developed a bureaucratic system based on centralized administration and regional prefectures. Over time, this governance system evolved across dynasties, adapting while maintaining core stability. Even when dynasties collapsed, the administrative framework often survived and was reused by new rulers. The Northern Wei dynasty introduced land distribution reforms that later enabled the Sui dynasty to reunify China. Historians credit these reforms for creating the agricultural and political infrastructure of future empires. In many cases, China didn't rebuild from nothing. It rebuilt from inherited institutional blueprints, but governance alone cannot explain survival. Because many empires had strong governments and still vanished. So what else helped China endure? After each collapse, China often implemented radical reforms that reshaped society. When the Mongol-ruled Yuan dynasty collapsed, China faced devastation and economic decline. The founder of the Ming dynasty, Zhu Yuanzhang, introduced sweeping reforms, strengthened centralized authority, rebuilt agricultural systems, reduced wealth inequality, restored Confucian social structures. These policies revived China's economy and social order. China didn't just restore its past, it redesigned society to prevent previous failures. But sometimes, even rebuilding wasn't enough. What happened when foreign invasions nearly erased China entirely? China has endured some of history's most devastating invasions. During the 13th century, Mongol invasions destroyed major Chinese regions. In Sichuan, population levels collapsed dramatically due to warfare and famine. Yet within decades, Chinese rebellion overthrew Mongol rule. The Ming dynasty restored native governance and revived Chinese identity. By the 19th century, foreign powers weakened China through unequal treaties and war. The 1911 revolution finally ended over 2,000 years of imperial rule and created the Republic of China. Instead of destroying China, foreign invasions often triggered national awakening and reform. But China's greatest collapse wasn't imperial. It happened in modern times. And its recovery changed global history forever. After decades of war, occupation, and political chaos in the early 20th century, China appeared permanently broken. Yet after 1949, a new government rebuilt the nation. China launched land redistribution programs, industrialization drives, infrastructure modernization, economic reforms under Deng Xiaoping. Economic reforms starting in 1978 opened China to global markets and lifted millions out of poverty while transforming it into a global economic power. China's modern rise is arguably its most dramatic comeback in history. So after thousands of years of collapse and recovery, is China now breaking the historical cycle or preparing for another transformation? China's resilience isn't just political or economic. It is deeply cultural. Chinese civilization consistently emphasized unity, collective identity, and adaptation. Even when ruling dynasties changed, the concept of a unified China survived. Historians note that many dynasties fell through peasant revolutions or social restructuring, which rebuilt governance structures rather than destroying civilization itself. China's greatest strength may not be power, but its ability to reinvent itself without losing identity. And this raises a final question. Is China's historical survival model shaping its future global ambitions? China's history is not a straight line. It is a cycle of collapse, learning, rebuilding, and rebirth. From ancient dynasties to modern economic reforms, China repeatedly transformed crises into turning points. And this pattern explains why China remains one of the most influential civilizations in human history. Because China does not simply survive collapse. It uses collapse to evolve. If history is any guide, the next chapter of China's story is already being written, and the world is watching. If you found this deep dive into China's historical resilience insightful, make sure to subscribe to InfoTalkings and turn on notifications so you never miss our investigative documentaries on global power, history, and social transformation.